Hi, welcome to one new video with Wice World English. And the topic today is passive voice. Today we are going to talk about different facts using passive voice. Okay, so in order to practice passive voice, first we need to remember active voice. So I want you to think about some facts about your country or another country and write some sentences, maybe 4 or 5 sentences. Let me give you an example. In Canada, they speak English and French. This is a fact. This is what people do in Canada. So I want you to write sentences similar to this. Now, be careful and don't write sentences like this. In Canada, speak French. This sentence is not correct. Remember that in English, the subject is always necessary. So when you write your sentences, make sure that you have the subject. Here are some questions that can help you write your sentences. Now you can pause the video and write sentences using these questions. I hope you have paused the video, and now let's take a look at some examples from me. For the first question, look at the country. So we're going to say they speak English and French in Canada. What do they produce in this country? Answer the question. In Colombia, they produce coffee. Let's go to the next one. In Japan, women wear kimonos in traditional ceremonies. Finally, the last one, look at this country. A lot of tourists visit Machu Picchu in Peru. Okay, so now we have all these sentences in active voice. And how do we know that this sentence is in active voice? Well, first of all, always look at the subject. In this case, the subject is they. They, meaning the people in Colombia. So this is the subject. Now, look at the sentence and tell me something. Is the subject doing the action? The action is to produce coffee. The answer is yes, the subject is doing the action. So, if the subject is doing the action, we know that we are using active voice. This is how we recognize active voice. Okay, now let's go to the next example. Look at this sentence. In Colombia, coffee produces. Is this sentence logical? I think it's not logical, because remember that coffee doesn't produce, it's people. People produce coffee. So this sentence is incorrect. The subject is not doing the action. That means that we need to use passive voice. So how do we do it in passive voice? Attention and take a look at this. In Colombia, coffee is produced. Remember, the subject is coffee. Coffee. The subject is doing the action. The subject is not doing the action. That means that in this sentence we are using passive voice. So when do we use passive voice? When the subject is not doing the action. Okay, so in conclusion, always look at the subject to notice the difference between active voice and passive voice. Look at the subject. In the first sentence, the subject is doing the action? Yes. In the second sentence, the subject is doing the action? No, the subject is not doing the action, and that's why we use passive voice. Now, how do we write sentences in passive voice? So look at the example. Coffee is produced in Colombia. We need to use the verb be, as you can see here. The verb be is necessary in passive voice, and then we have this verb. Be careful, it's not simple past. It is the verb in past participle. And this is how we write sentences in passive voice. Okay, now look at the sentences that you have here. I want you to change all these sentences to passive voice. Pause the video again and write your sentences. I hope you have paused the video, and now let's check the sentences very fast. For example, the first one, they speak English and French in Canada. Changing the sentence to passive voice would be English and French are spoken in Canada. Okay, what about the second one? In Japan, kimonos, verb to be, are worn by women in traditional ceremonies. A lot of tourists visit Machu Picchu in Peru. Machu Picchu is visited by a lot of tourists in Peru. Okay, so this was a quick review of passive voice. Now is your turn. Remember the sentences that you wrote at the beginning? Now write your sentences in passive voice. This is your homework. And before you go, don't go. Using the QR, you will be able to access all the material from Wice World English, classified by topics and by levels. So remember to follow me on social media, and I will see you in future videos. Bye-bye.